So switching it up a little bit. Every time like we'll start a session, I'll just have this open. You know,
Yep.
just for people to join up, kill each other, say horrible things like whatever the fuck Jonah just said. Um, Other than that, like once we're done like catching up, recapping, I'll just start it. Um, but you know, one last check if everybody is ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lock out John. That would be good.
Oh, and I also have God powers, so no more moving. What a fucking shame. um, gee, did you? How?
Out.
All right, my God powers aren't as good as I thought they were. Apparently.
It's my keyboard.
Oh, were you just spamming it that much?
You guys
I can change it, and so it like registers it as clicking really fast instead of holding.
Jesus Christ. All right, take note. Ban Jonah from future campaigns. All right, boys. We pick up kinda where we left off. You know, not entirely how our last session together ended. After the abysmal failure that ended campaign 1, thanks, John.
It was a group decision.
It was a group decision. He's the one that pulled the trigger, though.
To be fair, he was the one sending Star Wars prequel memes, encouraging you guys to blow yourselves up. So story-wise, after all this time, and of course Santiago. I'm just gonna call you Santi because it saves me an extra second of.
Slat.
You know what? I'll do that. That saves me. Yes, Slat. Jesus. You won't understand half of what's about to get read. So that's fine. You know, that's what the searching the journal entries and stuff is for, and especially since half of this doesn't even matter anyway, since you know
Appreciate it.
John killed himself and the entire group.
Greater good, man. Greater good.
Yeah. Okay, whatever you say. So, with the failure of the Anusians to rally back together and fight off the both planar and extraplanar forces that wish to conquer the nation, the remaining two groups left standing on Anusian soil began making their preparations for final battle to bring about the end of these so-called Anusian wars. The two sides met in open conflict in the once great capital of Anut, Oceanfall. There, Archduke Levistus, Devil Lord of Stygia, rallied together his fiends in an attempt to defend the once great city against the Aroan Supreme Commander and his Aroan troops. The outcome kind of shifts depending on the source, though one thing is definitely clear. The Great Blight, known to all as the Voidlands, arose from Oceanfall at the climax of this final battle. Those who were far enough away from the Void's initial growth were able to flee before the darkness consumed them, and these survivors were able to spread their tale to those who were further away from Oceanfall, kind of around the borders of Anut. Over the years, the Voidlands expanded outwards towards Anut's borders, consuming everything in sight. Those without the currency, resources, or general access to aquatic vessels were stranded. Every day, the Voidlands loomed in the distance, growing ever closer to the surviving humanoids still left on the Forsaken Continent. By most accounts from Anusian immigrants, a figurehead appeared to several stranded communities. Dubbed the Great Mage, the figure opened several portals out of the prime material plane to help get those who were doomed out and away from the encroaching Voidlands. After helping several of these communities escape, the mage disappeared back into the prime material plane, never to be seen again. These immigrants arrived in a place of myth, known amongst some common folk, not even a lot. The place that the mage teleported everyone to was named Sigil, the City of Doors, the Cage. From Sigil, portals to all the extraplanar realms can be commonly found. The city itself rested at the peak of an infinitely tall mountain within the Outlands, giving it its name for being the center of all of the planes. Within Sigil, no laws are reinforced by a governing body. The only force dedicated to the upkeep of Sigil are the Dabo, goat-like men who hover above the ground and speak in symbols that float above their heads. There's also the Lady. The Lady of Pain is the only force that really keeps the Ring City in peace. Not much was known about the Lady of Pain, and still is known, because few in the city ever saw her. There's never any real doubt she was real, because the evidence left behind from those wishing to break her two unspoken rules can be clearly seen. Rule number 1, you do not worship the Lady. Worshipping her will end up with your body being cut instantly into countless gashes. Rule number 2, you do not interfere with the Dabo or the natural balance of Sigil. Doing so rewards the idiot dumb enough to tangle with the Lady the worst of her punishments, being mazed. The amount of people surviving a maze is substantially tiny, but they all share a common story. An endless maze with one exit, constant hunger, agony, and loneliness for decades where your body doesn't even age. If that wasn't evidence enough of the Lady's great power, that's not the end of it. Her power is above, apparently, the gods themselves. No god can step into Sigil. And apparently long ago, she had killed a greater deity within Sigil who attempted to overtake her power. Within about a year of the first portal opening between the Prime Material Plane and Sigil by the Great Mage, all of them simultaneously closed. Every portal between the Prime Material Plane and all other realms also closed, stranding those immigrants within whatever extraplanar realm they were in. No contact can be made to the Prime either. Over the following decades, the primers still within Sigil's ghettos began to merge into one. Where once great hatred was found between the Aroans and the Anusians, harmony started to form. Religions arose within these primers, especially ones that probably held disdain previously. Specifically, the Church of the Chosen One expanded immensely during the Great Migration. While it never expanded outside of kind of the more primer districts within Sigil, its origin and beliefs benefited many people within Sigil who saw the end times quickly approaching. New technology began to form with this harmony that helped allow the primers to survive. Especially weapons like guns that kind of give the less benefited casters more of a chance to hold their own against more powerful enemies. The primers weren't the only ones stranded, however. With the portals to the Prime Material Plane closing, Stygia was left leaderless. In Levistus' wake came chaos into the realm, the fifth layer of the Nine Hells. Several different powerful Stygian devils and even archdukes from other layers of Hell fought over control for the fifth layer. This confusion allowed countless abyssal invasions into Stygia, shifting the main front of the Blood War from the first layer all the way down to the realm of the Styx. Many Stygian devils fled their original home due to the isolation that they once held for themselves, as they saw that get taken away from them. Lastly, with the flooding of people during the Great Migration, many of the factions once forcibly disbanded in Sigil began to reform under new sets of leadership. Over the next several decades, they regained their once lost control over the denizens of Sigil. Many old feuds began to re-arise amongst the different factions. The faction war that once held past, that had died abruptly thanks to intervention by the Lady, is now beginning to rekindle as these many different factions begin to start stoking these flames. All of you can feel it. Sigil is nearing its bursting point, especially with the desolation commonly believed to be approaching again, the lower planes being thrown out of scale, the Prime Material Plane being cut off, and the various factions of Sigil beginning to prepare for an inevitable war against one another. And worst of all of that, each of you are broke. So where we begin, contract in her hand, a lilac-skinned tiefling ascends up the steps to the city court. As I change to... The faded baby blue marble steps made a hard sound thunk underneath her feet as she pushes off each marble step. So let me force that. Unlike the usual metallic flooring that rang and echoed out whenever she had placed her feet down upon them, there is a uniqueness to the more regal yet simple marble structure. Maybe she spent way too much time in the hive, wasting time thinking about these types of things, but the tiefling carried herself up the steps with more gusto as she could see the top coming into sight. Marble columns stood chiseled and tall at the area above the stairs. A large set of maroon doors menacingly stood behind the columns with a single guard standing in front of them, easily identifying the member as a person of the Harmonium due to the heavy, blood-red, sharp iron armor set that the guard wore. The guard, seeing a red-tinted contract in the tiefling's hand, allowed the tiefling to proceed into the city court. The door opened into an expansive main hall that was made entirely of marble. Torches dimly lit both sides of the hallway as various fraternity members and advocates paced the main room. Immediately to her right, with her dark vision, the tiefling spots a lobby area. The torches within this area have seemed to gone long out, and due to the early timing of this meeting in the morning, nobody's arrived yet to reignite them. The tiefling quickly makes her way over to the lobby and sits upon a decently looking couch. The properly cushioned, especially having to sit on a properly cushioned furniture after so long, makes the tiefling kind of lean back and sigh in relaxation, probably a little bit too loud. Immediately, a loud clang brings chaotic life into this dark lobby. The tiefling shrieks and puts her arms out in front of her in defense as something strange rears its face in front of her. Where once was no movement quickly changes into shaking, stirring, and clanging of metal. Two chairs across from the tiefling quickly get pushed to the side as a construct begins to wake in front of her. As the construct stands tall in front of the tiefling, a green flash temporarily blinds her, coming from the construct. As the flash ends, two green glowing eyes stare lifelessly down upon the shorter creature in front of the construct. Jonah and Charlie, if you would like to introduce yourselves.
Do you want to go first, Charlie, or should I go?
I got it. Interesting way to scare someone.
Well, if you can't make an entrance, what can you make?
A doorway? I don't know.
You gotta have fun with it. It's the only way that things can be done.
Are you also here for this contract?
Yeah, I just got some information about a job opportunity. And I'm here because I really need some money.
I would, I look you up and down. Why do you need money? I don't think you need to eat.
No, of course not.
Then why do you need money?
I have my reasons.
Fair enough.
Well, while this is happening, kind of further away within the ladies' ward, an armored humanoid sprints his way through the open streets of the ladies' ward. A thick set of scale armor covers the man almost from head to toe, making him look rather odd within the noble district of the ladies' ward. Unlike the streets of the hive, most denizens of the ladies' ward don't seem to be up this early. Most of the people he had seen during his run were mostly local shopkeepers preparing for the day, actually. In the ladies' ward, most shopkeepers had little protection for their humble shops. Almost the sight of seeing someone in public with their goods not being protected by a high amount of weapons or protection is like weirdly confusing. Remembering to check the time as this human is running a bit late, the man looks up into the endless swirl of pollution that centers and condenses in the sky, forming Sigel's, air quote, sky. Hidden deep within the fog is Sigel's rotating source of light. The glow hasn't begun yet, thank the gods, the man thought, though there's still a mile to go or so before the city court even begins to arrive within his sight. As the man focuses again on the things in front of him, a group of mercy killers drag an unconscious body with them in the direction of the prison. Despite the clunkiness and stiffness of his armor, the man backsteps and rolls against the direction that the Red Death were headed, allowing him to steer himself clear from the bounty hunters. The man chuckles and smiles to himself underneath his helmet as he turns around to look at the mercy killers he had just narrowly avoided. As the man turns to reevaluate the path ahead of him once more, he feels his head rear backwards sharply as he tumbles quickly to the ground. In the distance from behind him, the echo from the group of mercy killers laughing reached the man's aching head as he begins to pull himself back up. The man quickly turns to look at what or who knocked him out of his perfect run so far, forgetting even the time frame he is currently working under. A large construct slowly continues moving forward, not even noting the impact that had just occurred between the two different creatures. The man's brain capacity is completely filled when he stares at the back of this metallic, humanoid-looking contraption, seeing a red-tinted piece of parchment paper pinned to its back, with the same writing as the red-tinted parchment that he himself has. Santiago and John, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Oh, I'm sorry about that, laddie.
Give John a second here. Let me see. I can force you to. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Sorry, you're a big man. Didn't see you there. What are you up to in such a hurry?
Sorry, it's
Sneaking into something? Did you get a voice changer for this?
No, I'm Johnny.
Johnny.
Oh my god. Heading to a courthouse.
Alright, you guys can't be laughing if I want to be able to do this.
I'm heading to the courthouse. By the looks of that parchment, so are you. Aye. Why are you in such a hurry? Sound like that.
Sorry. Let me, And I take off my helmet, and you can see a kind of just like... kind of more just like... not really like well-kept like face. And maybe look a bit dirty, probably haven't showered in like a few days. Just kind of like some like... shortish to medium brown hair, kind of like laying down a little bit, and I got like a nice little like stubble going on. I'm like, sorry, it's the helmet. Yeah,
Take your helmet off. As soon as you take your helmet off, I jump back a little bit. Jesus Christ! Put it back on, lad.
that's just rude. I'll just put the helmet back on, and I'll say,
Oh god, seems like we're both headed to the courthouse. If you, wanna walk up together, I think we're supposed to be there pretty soon. We got a ways to go. mind a little company?
Isaac, by the way. I'll hold out my hand.
The name's Slat. Hold out my hand too.
Pleasure to meet you, Slat.
Well,
I guess we'll walk on down.
We'll make our way.
all right. Having a... Okay, can I just say, I loved when you turned it on before you started speaking, you could hear, like, the background noise start to get affected, too. It's like you know when John's about to talk when you can hear that like, flick of a switch, kind of. As the two of you, the Scottish Warforged and the robotic human, quickly kind of like finish up the remaining distance that were from where you guys were at towards the city court. You can see that the glow is kind of beginning to pick up a little bit as dawn, air quote, is beginning to arrive on the city and more people are kind of waking up. You make your way through kind of like these nicer roadways that have been carved through by the denizens of the ladies' ward as you make your way towards the city court and kind of go on the inside. As the two of you enter, immediately to your right, you can see another giant construct kind of like standing over in talk with a smaller by a lot, well, you know, it's fair, tiefling girl. And as you guys kind of enter and look towards them, they kind of just stop their conversations and look towards you, as all four of you guys just begin to look towards one another.
What's up with all you bashers and your metal brain boxes?
That's a good work, lad.
I don't know who you're calling a basher. I'll take my helmet off and hold it to the side.
Well, at least one of you is living.
A cyborg then.
Not exactly. It's, just say this armor's got a few tricks up its sleeve.
Well, are we all here for the same reason?
I'll just, hold up my piece of parchment.
I would assume so, and I'll hold them up.
We're the same.
Well, does anyone know anything about who the Cloven are?
No idea.
No clue.
I mean, from what I've at least know that they kind of do with, a lot of more, legal aspects of some of the factions here, I would guess say pretty much the lawyers of Sigil for the factions.
Oh, nice. Huh?
I'm sorry?
You mean the governors?
Not precisely, Shane. Just from my basic knowledge, they just kind of deal with legal matters in dealing with all the factions, not just one specific one.
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah. If you're like a governor, you're basically part of the fraternity of order, but a lot of the lawyers, which are advocates, like work pretty much for the fraternity, but they don't want to be allied with the faction, so they just call themselves advocates. But yeah, usually you can just say that they're the lawyers because that's 99% correct.
So yes and no.
Fun. Well,
Wonder what they need done.
yeah.
I hope it's more smashing, less thinking.
Well, considering the group that we might have here, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more smashing from the looks of it.
Well,
Can't
I might as well
never
go.
go wrong with some good smashing. Never.
As you guys continue to discuss, at first it's kind of hard to hear, but a familiar noise to each of you four begins to pick up from above you, kind of like in the dark rafters. As each of you look up, who has dark vision? Does anybody? Charlie, you have dark vision, right?
I do.
Nobody else does.
I don't think so.
Damn. How great for me. You look up and you can like all of you are beginning to hear like a chuckling noise that's picking up in intensity the longer you guys have been talking, as you four have gathered. And Charlie, as you kind of stop and turn and look up, you can see in the rafters there's just kind of like a little figure, kind of just like looking down at you guys.
Are torches still burnt out?
Yes, in that room, yeah. There's just a little light coming from the main hallway into this area.
Alright, well, I'm gonna use firebolt and light one of the torches on fire.
Alright. As you do that, the torch kind of glows up the rest of the room. You kind of like nod your head up, and all of you guys can now see a... it's probably best if I do a little bit of... not that button. That button. I wish it was higher quality, but I lost the image 5 minutes before the session started. You guys can see an imp kind of up in the rafters, chuckling lowly to himself, though the chuckle stopped as soon as the light turned on. You could kind of see him back up a little bit. As you all kind of like stare at him, like, what the fuck is an imp doing up in the rafters? You kind of see it just poof away. And right in the middle of all four of you on the ground, it poofs back right in the middle of you. You can see in its hand, it's holding a another red parchment contract, similar to the ones that each of you have. It begins to like back up, like walk in reverse out into the main hall, chuckling lowly to himself as he does so. And with the hand that's not holding the parchment, he gestures for you guys to follow.
This is interesting already, and I'm gonna follow.
I'm hoping we don't get peeled. I'll follow.
I'll just kind of sigh and put my helmet back on and start following.
It reminds me of my kin. I'll follow.
He kind of leads you guys down the main hall. You can see the kin. You can see kind of like doorways off to the left and right down the main hall that most likely lead to different courtrooms and the such. But he leads you guys down towards the end of this great kind of main hallway. At the end, again, image, something happened where I can't show what the city court looks like. But kind of on the backside of the city court stands like a tall, square-ish tower that reaches up. And from where you guys are heading, he begins to lead you up a stairway that kind of follows like the inner perimeter of this tower. As he continues to lead you guys along, you can hear him kind of like under his breath just go, between the laughing, of course, just go, sometimes at random say rat, or sometimes he'll say think. Sometimes it's, not in that order. Sometimes some of the words are stretched out. Sometimes they're in other languages. But usually it's always the same two words between the chuckles of rat and think. After going up a couple levels, he kind of stops you guys at a kind of doorway that leads inwards towards kind of like the center of this, not really spiral since it's square-like, but staircase. After leading you guys through the door, you go down like a dark hall. You can see that on each side there are like several kind of maroon metallic doors, evenly spaced out all the way down, with very dimly lit torches kind of scattered here and there. But at the very end of this final hall, there stands kind of a door that's a little bigger than the rest of them. The imp makes his way up towards it and reaches out its small little claw hand and just... After a couple seconds, the doorway opens up and the imp goes inside.
bit and keep walking.
Hey, before we go in, and who knows what's on the other side of
That's
the
the
door.
spirit.
I think I should know all y'all names before we go in. I'm Persephone.
My name's
Isaac.
Isaac.
My name's Slat,
Slat.
otherwise known as Goblin King. You
Goblin.
can call me Slat.
Interesting.
Alright.
Right?
What makes you the king of the goblins?
Means I was their ruler. You know, before we got dropped off at this big island here. It's a long story, mate.
Right.
I'd love to hear you one day.
I'm sure you will.
I'll just slowly turn around, a little bit more confused now, and walk through the door.
Before I change the scene, make sure you guys have Chrome open in like its own individual window, like the Foundry Chrome tab, and then full screen it. Give you a couple extra seconds.
'Tis done.
Okay, I'm going to slowly reach and press the
Okay.
button if that's okay.
Oh,
And I do a little bit of
And you make
That?
long.
nah. I can't do anything while they happen, so I just. Ooh, hold on. You can do it, little buddy. Just play the song.
Shane, I don't have any vision in the scene.
I know the lights are technically still supposed to be off, but your boy's having a music issue. There we go. Right. As you guys kind of each enter into the room, the lights are completely off. You'd be a little unnerved, but you can still hear kind of that low chuckling of the imp kind of further into the room somewhere. Which, you know, if you really stop to think about it, is probably more unnerving, just hearing that low chuckle. But after a couple seconds, kind of spread out throughout the room, 4 lamps kind of glow on at the same time in like a limeish color. As I do that, and that. Immediately right in front of you guys, you should be able to see that 2 large bookcases kind of stand on each side. The imp was able to kind of like sneak along towards the left of the bookcase, but for the rest of you, you know, you're a little bigger than the tiny imp, so you kind of have to like, you know, one at a time kind of go northwards through the 2 large bookcases. You are unable to move, so now I let you move. At the very other end, kind of like down this red carpet that leads to like an official kind of business-like table, you can see that there is just a large devilish figure just kind of looking out like a back window out into the streets of the ladies' ward. As you get closer to the desk, as you all slowly approach, you can see that to the right, kind of laying on a kind of like a couch in a way, I guess you could say. Doesn't look very comfy because there aren't any cushions on it, but you can see another female fiendish figure. She's kind of like reading from a book, though as you guys slowly approach, she just kind of begins to sigh and set the book down. I need to give myself permission here for a couple of you so I can see. But as you guys kind of get closer towards where this larger fiendish creature is at the other end of this office. He raises his left hand and points towards here and just says, "Sit."
I'll sit.
We'll sit as well.
I'm gonna say, I love your office.
He kind of snorts at that, but doesn't say anything right away. He just kind of continues looking out the back window. Forgot to mention, as you guys entered, there's a very, I guess you could say, sweet, earthly smell to the room. You kind of didn't know what the source of it was, though to each of you it kind of smelled a little familiar. Though as you kind of get a better look sitting from those left seats, you can definitely see that that fucker is smoking some pipe weed. Let me pull up. The larger male fiendish figure turns. You can see from the pipe he's smoking, he just, as if he sucks the fire away that was used to ignite it out of the pipe, and he sets it down at his desk. With his two goat legs, he kind of like kicks the chair to the side, sits down in it, and then scoots himself up towards the desk. As he does so, you can see the female fiend off to the right, whose image looks exactly like bada bing. She just looks towards the imp in the background and goes, "Oh, so these are the people you brought?" She kind of looks towards Persephone and Isaac first, and then immediately looks towards the two giant warforged in the room. She just kind of shrugs and goes, "You know, not bad. Not bad at all." She kind of reaches into her pocket and grabs like a bit of raw meat and like throws it over your guys' shoulders towards the imp, who kind of catches it with his razor sharp teeth and just like shreds it apart. He kind of goes back silent on the other side of the couch, south of you guys.
So, why'd you call us here?
He kind of is a little put off by the sound of your voice at first. It kind of takes him a couple seconds to be like, "Oh, yeah, helmet," you know.
It's a very nice place you got here.
He doesn't seem much like the social type, but the lady off to the right definitely goes, kind of gives like a little giggle to that and goes, "Well, when you're on an advocate's salary, you can afford the nicer things in life." Before anyone can keep a friendly conversation going, the devil in the north goes, "Alright, let's cut the wigwag. I have things that need to get done, so I had my colleague over here find a couple hard-hitting, pipe-hitting cutters who will go to work. You do your jobs, I pay you, you continue doing said jobs. Any questions?"
Not except for the usual, you know, like, what's the salary like, and those types of questions.
He kind of leans back in his chair and just goes, "Well, that's more in her field of work." He just kind of leans back in his chair and goes, "If there's anything relevant to the overall job, ask now before I leave for more important things."
Who's the target?
You hear the fiend to the right. You can hover over their tokens, right? And you can see.
Yep.
Okay. Technically, you don't know their names yet, but to make things easier on myself, Katrina is the female one, shocking, and not going to pronounce his name. I'll try at some point, but, you know.
Elbron?
Yeah. Fuck, what was even the last question before I went off on a tangent?
I asked who's the target.
Oh, Katrina just kind of gives a nice little chuckle to herself and goes, my, we found a mercy killer in our ranks, haven't we?
I'm not a mercy killer.
Whatever you tell yourself. And she goes back to kind of like reading from her book. She goes, well, normally around here we don't do hits, but, well, a contract could come in from you guys, from the Mercy Killers, if your prestige and life still hangs on to you by that point. But don't get too far ahead of yourselves.
How did, why did you contact me? I don't think you said hard hitting. I'm not really a hard hitter.
The Yelveron gives a hard, like, single laugh at that and goes, "I'm thinking that myself." And he looks over towards the imp behind you all. Katrina chimes in and just goes, well, I wrote the contracts, but I did not have recipients. Our pet, and she kind of points towards the imp, he was in charge of seeking people worthy out for us.
Well, that imp might have gotten lucky.
So you wanted hard-hitting people, but it's not a hit or a bounty hunting job. What do you need the hard-hitting people for?
He, Yelveron just goes, "Don't take my words too literally there, Buckethead." He begins to reignite the pipe. Clearly he's growing a little bored of this meeting already. And goes, I need someone who I know won't fuck off during the first mission. He begins to smoke from the pipe again. Missions, objectives, quests, same thing.
Will we ever have to face the rope if we ever get caught?
Katrina chimes in and just goes, look. We may be, air quote, evil, but we still follow and abide by the laws. Understand that now. If, per se, some other faction you may have pissed off kidnaps you, well, she just kind of looks up and goes, we'll try our best, but to be fair, we could just get more of you. So, shrugs again. She begins to kind of nibble on the bits of raw meat that were in her pocket.
How much drink are we talking right now?
Yelveron stands up and he just goes, fine by me. If you ever need to speak with me, speak through the imp or... And then he doesn't really finish the sentence, but he nods his head over towards Katrina and just goes, I'll be watching. And he plane shifts away. Not plane shifts, but, you know, teleports out.
Yelveron's gone?
Now he is.
Yeah.
Katrina kind of stands up, begins to make her way over towards the chair. If only I could perfectly sit down on the chair. What a shame. She begins to like pull stacks of paper out from underneath her desk and put them on the table. You can see that most of them are in rough condition. And there are just like several different stacks of these, and she just goes, well, sounds like you're interested, so for the beginning, and she just kind of like rolls her hands in the air a little bit, trying to come up with a word. We'll say beginning tasks. Upon successful completion, 50 gold. You prove that you have some worth for us, we'll start giving you bigger boy missions. Tasks, jobs, same thing.
Is she holding out like a contract to her?
Not yet. No, she's just kind of putting them out there for emphasis.
Fair enough. So what do we have to do for this 50 gold?
She says, well, considering you guys just met, take the day for yourselves. And she kind of gestures towards the imp and goes, Ratfink over there will find wherever you guys live and give you some opportunities tomorrow. And then she kind of like fades off and goes, well, do you all know where each other live? She takes the silence as a note and just goes, well, I mean, are you guys do you have plans to move in together? Do you have plans to have a base of operations?
I have a cape we could all stay at.
Is this grouping an extended thing?
She
Might have to be.
Because if it is, I'm down to go wherever.
It's better than the alley.
More intent.
I have a place for us to stay.
She just nods her head and goes, well then, as much as I would love to give you guys a contract to sign over this, you know, devilish contracts aren't the best, meeting each other for the first time. And she kind of gives like a slight little smirk, kind of tosses another bit of meat into her mouth.
Maybe next time then.
She nods her head and just goes, fine by me.
Alright then.
All right. Well, gentlemen, she looks towards Persephone, and gentlewomen, there's nothing else to be said here today. Ratfink will find you at wherever tomorrow morning. Whatever opportunities we'll have for you then, he'll hand out. Before we give you guys any more, before we give you a real thing to start working on, just, you know, take your time with some of the basic ones. She kind of stands and kind of begins to make her way down the red carpet. She gestures towards that large door that you guys had entered in at the very south part of the room. And as she gestures towards it, it opens back up and leads back into that hallway.
Before we leave, you and your boss, what are your names?
She goes, well, the grumpy one is Yelveron, and I'm Katrina.
I'm Isaac.
Persephone, nice to meet you.
Rot.
She just nods her head and goes, well,
I'm Slat, otherwise known as Goblin King. Nice to meet you.
she kind of she kind of like takes a moment to think about the full title. We'll start with Slat.
Slat the Goblin King.
I would like nonchalantly mention that anytime we meet anyone. Like under my breath. Call me Slat, so that's fine.
She just goes, watch yourselves out there. Sigil can be a dangerous place to those who aren't paying attention.
Oh, we know. Lived here my whole life.
You all leaving?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I'm going to the bathroom quick.
Alright, because he has seen this next part, I am going to do just a little bit of... Alright.
Those guys in the loading screen were interesting.
This is the Church of the Chosen guys.
Can you guys see markers on the map?
I do not need
Can't
to see
see
that.
anything.
No.
Oh, has the map... Okay, well, it's a big one, so it's probably going to take a little bit for you guys to...
It's black.
It is just a black screen.
Yeah, it'll... Either you can refresh or it'll take a little bit to load because it's a big boy. As I see everybody just disconnect. Fuck this, we're out. Well, I guess I'll just play by myself. Let me know when people are able to start seeing the map. This should be the only one that actually has, like, issues loading. I forget how big it is.
Oh. I'm just gonna be stuck at 98% for a while, I think.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Is Foundry the only thing that's open in your Chrome window?
Yeah.
Takes a little bit.
There we go. I can see it.
Can you do you see like little map icons that you can hover over? Like I see like I'm guessing that's a no. Yeah, I see where you're. I mean like can you see like things right there?
Yeah.
Click the journal notes button on your top left slat.
Let's go.
And then click the toggle notes display.
Okay.
Are you able to see icons and stuff now? Actually, hold on. You know what? I think hold on, give me.
Top left under the anvil on like the left side.
No, this
you
is
see
I don't
like
think
a
he has
little mark.
he doesn't have permission. Hold on.
I have it on. I have it on. I just can't see anything yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I need to give him permission first. Alright, can you start seeing them now?
Might need to refresh your page.
Oh,
Jonah, can you?
the prison, the city court, singing fountain,
Alright.
palace of... Oh, I thought this was the palace of Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
I wanted to go to the palace of Jeff.
Refresh my page. I'm sitting at a nice 98 here.
Quality.
Yeah, I'll do that for a little bit.
I had D&D Beyond open in another tab of Chrome, like, completely
Yeah,
separate.
as long as they're in different windows, that speeds up things.
I just closed it because I basically don't need it.
Really there.
Someday.
Don't worry. I'm chilling at 98%.
Quality.
Can you guys see the player notes that I made?
I
Because I have one.
two devils seem to run at the head honcho being healer and maybe, and the handler for us being devil named Katrina.
Yep. Cool. The Cloven. Cool. I didn't know if like the player notes were shared or not.
Have
There
you,
we go, yeah. I got it.
and you can see all the map notes and stuff?
Yep.
Perfect.
As in,
Um,
the worm.
Charlie, I'm guessing you're good?
Yep.
Alright, so you guys are starting or leaving the court, which is top left. You can probably try and see my ping.
Oh.
But it is up to you guys where to go now.
Well, Persephone, seems like we're going back to wherever your home is.
Alright. Well. Hold on. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how. Chandler lived on the opposite side.
No. Oh, yes, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are literally as far away from your home as you could possibly be.
Well. Would you guys like to take a stroll through the ladies' ward? As we make our way to my humble abode.
Sure.
I'll do it.
Some reason that temple
Anyone
isn't
want to stop anywhere? Run a couple errands.
Not particularly for me. I think I'm good.
Shane, we will head down Glutton's Gorge.
Glutton's Gorge. Right. As you kind of leave the court district and begin heading air quote west, it's really something because this is probably for most of you the first time being in the ladies' ward. The only reason you guys were even able to get in is because you had those contracts from the, the Clovens, aka the Fraternity of Order, the court, to get you in. As you guys kind of make your way down Glutton's Gorge, you can see a lot of nicer like manors and stuff like that being put up. Of course, now that like the morning glow has kind of come in, it's definitely a lot more lively with people out. Most people kind of what you can see in Glutton's Gorge are just like, fat cats living in their nice little luxurious, compact New York apartments. But, are you guys just heading straight to the home?
I think so.
Right. So, because of the way Sigil works as a ringed city, you guys leave at that west part, and you go all the way down into the market ward. Things quickly shift in look as you guys leave the ladies' ward into the market ward. A lot of the buildings aren't as tall and spacious. They're probably a lot more flat, with some being spacious to house like factories and stuff like that in. After making your way through Copperman Way, you head straight into the Great Bazaar, kind of passing through the cluster of people that are just fighting each other over basically a in-person eBay, but a lot shittier. Passing through the Great Bazaar, you make your way past the Great Gymnasium, continuing even further, heading east. In the distance, south from where you guys currently are, you can see the top peaks of the festive district, and even further north, you can kind of see the top kind of spear and top of the dome of the Hall of Speakers. Continuing eastward even more, you make your way to Crystal Dew Lane, passing the Hall of Records, and this is where you can really start to see the Hive in its full impact. While places like the Clerk's Ward, the Guildhall Ward, and the Market Ward are relatively the same in look, it just goes downhill as soon as you can see the Hive. The streets become more cracked, the buildings have more sharp edges to them as they're basically falling apart. There's just a lot, it's not a rare sight to see just a dead body in the street of the hive. You make your way down Stump Street. Persephone leading the way now, though most of you are kind of in tune with the area. As you make your way past the Weary Spirit, you can see the Boneyard Pond behind it, and just the smell of decay emanating from it almost makes you all throw up. Thankfully, each of you pray on the inside to whatever deity you pray to, that Persephone did not lead you to any other district besides the Marble District, known for kind of being the nicer area of the hive out of anything. Kind of near like the corner point, the most northwestern point of the Marble District, you kind of see like a 2-story metallic and wooden hybrid shanty-looking house that Persephone just kind of walks you guys straight towards.
Well, this is my humble abode. Rent is due at the first of the month. We can talk about prices after. Okay?
Well, we'll see. We gotta get
evil.
I want a tour at least before signing the contracts.
Fair enough. Alright. I will open up the front door.
Alright, everybody going in?
Yep.
That one did not have any audio play that time. Quality.
One of these days it's gonna fully load and we'll be able to read it.
It's fully loaded for me once, and then it's transferred immediately, so I haven't
I
been
do
able
not
to read
own
it.
any token with vision in this scene.
As I do something amazing and add tokens to the scene. I might have to give up on the transitions, man. I tried my hardest, but that's just a fucking waste of time.
No, but transitions are dope. Just
They don't work.
give them a little bit more time.
Dude, I give them 10 seconds.
Make it 15. Alright, well.
Doors are hard, right?
Well, I was trying to walk through it, but someone was just spamming it. But yeah, so.
Is it light out here?
Let me...
Light
I'll turn it to daylight. John, how much can you see around you right now?
Not a lot.
Okay, I'm just gonna turn off vision then for this. Or, you know, whatever.
I mean, I'm uncovering stuff as I go, but
I'm only uncovering the square I'm in.
yeah, I can see Slat. Oh,
you guys
there's
want
wrought
to
iron.
say-
How does that look?
Oh,
That's a lot better.
there we go.
Oh shit, you can just go upstairs.
You're
Is
m-
there a hotkey for doors again?
No, you have to click on.
Uh,
This is my room.
oh, is these rooms?
I'll take this room.
I'll take this one. Ooh.
Oh, flat. You have top right.
Gonna go downstairs and for sleep
Yes.
just like stand up. I'm just gonna go to the dining room and stand like in the corner.
Oh, are you gonna Blair Witch?
Stay standing. It's gonna be like motionless.
Yeah, just stare in the
Oh, I
corner.
mean, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna remove the bed from my room, but I'm still having a room.
Bro, you guys are just gonna remove the beds. Each of you takes a corner and just stares all night.
I can no longer go left.
Where are you at?
I'm just gonna be
Oh, I see.
downstairs in the dining room. Just
I-
like standing.
I'm above the dining room, kind of. I can't go left. Only up and down. I don't even know if I can go right because I'm already all the way right.
I'll put take my off my helmet and kind of just like put it on the table counter, kind of just like look at Slat and be like, so do you just power off for the night? I'm not trying to assume anything, but how do you sleep?
Assume anything.
it's not really sleep, lad. I just kind of lay motionless for about 6 hours or so, and I can hear and see everything going around, around me. So I want to leave y'all to your privacy upstairs. And then I just kind of like, I'm just standing up straight. My eyes kind of go from yellow to nothing.
Kind of just like wave my hand in front of his eyes and be like, interesting.
Well, Isaac, since we're the only ones that need to eat food in this house, I can. Well, hold up. Shane, what time is it?
By this point, spending like the rest of your morning basically walking back, most of your day even. It's not most of the day, but like I'd probably say it's like 1 or 2 now. Air quote.
I just power back on quick.
Charlie's like dining room and kitchen is just a fucking mess. Like there are just kind of like broken plates and what else is there for dining besides plates? Glasses.
Yeah.
I run into the kitchen, surprise. Oh, you guys have silverware and plates. Never been in a place so fancy.
Well, it was a lot nicer a couple nights ago. But I sort of robbed.
You had a break-in?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah. Had a break-in and most of my they didn't really go upstairs, but sort of trashed the dining room and the kitchen. I didn't get around to clean the kitchen.
See you, Jonah.
Well, what do you like some lunch, Isaac?
Of course. I'll kind of look around the dirty dining room. I'll say, least I could do to repay is clean up a bit here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I will
Also,
start this back. Doing all
Yeah, I'll
this.
start to pick up some of the mess in the dining room.
For the next little bit after, you were doing this before eating or after?
Well, Persephone's making
Alright,
food.
but yeah,
so
well,
me and
yeah.
Rot are trying to clean up.
As best you can. Yeah, most of the kind of like broken tableware, you're able to just kind of clean up and pile in the corner until you're able to find somewhere to actually throw all of it. Kind of in the area around here on the ground, you can still see that like kind of ingrained with the wood there is just like an old blood splotch.
Does it look old, like from a few days ago, or
Survival check.
first roll? First roll.
All right, now before you do this, Sean, remember what was your first roll in that one-on-one we had?
What was it?
Natural 20.
All right, now first official roll. Here we go. Oof. All right.
It's a blood stain.
Yeah, it's a blood stain, dog. I don't know what you're expecting, man.
It's indeed a bloodstain.
Well,
So, what happened there?
oh, one of the burglars was trying to run out, and I was able to get him. I was able to nick him real quick before he ran off.
No, we just have to follow the blood trail and we can find them.
Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Called tracking, Shane.
You ever heard of it, bro?
Well, at least with this crew, we'll be able to save money on food expenses. I'll put down a plate of basically just scraps that were not stolen.
I'm gonna put a ration down in front of each of you too.
It's basically just the crust from bread. That's it.
I'll kind of look at it gingerly and be like, thank you for for lunch. And I'll turn to Rod and I say, why do you have rations on you?
I don't fully know. When I went out, they were just provided for me, so...
Out from where?
Oh, my church.
I guess now
You go to
says,
church?
Any good cleric goes to church.
so yeah, I guess now's a good time as any to get to know each other. I guess we're starting with you, Rot. You're a robotic cleric.
The term robot is actually quite derogatory. I am a
I'm so sorry.
You're so much more than robots. I'm so deeply offended. But yes, I am a Warforged cleric. Yeah, do you guys have any more questions?
How does that work? Because you're not...
Well, I was created to help around the temple.
Alright.
And then kind of just over time, I copied what others were doing. And eventually my god reached out to me and said, hey, do you want all this dope-ass shit? And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And so, I guess I became a cleric.
Who do you follow? If you don't mind that me asking.
Morgian.
Shane.
Yeah, I was waiting. John, are you gonna help him?
Yeah, I'll,
Is that how you spell it, Jonah?
I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Oh, I thought you sent it Morgan, like the I and the. If so, I've done a lot of things
I'll do a
wrong.
roll as well.
Advantage or best of you two. All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I spelled it correctly there.
well, I need to make some changes then. John, with that roll, the name sounds familiar, and the more you stare at Rot, the more you're getting confident that he had approached you with pamphlets maybe a couple weeks ago.
You guys did your Jehovah's Witnesses a single? Be like, I think I've seen you guys around town before.
You might have. We were recently relocated, so we're trying to get a footing again. Would you like to join?
I'm afraid I don't really follow deities of that, stature.
Okay.
How interesting. How about you, Goblin King?
Would you like to know?
Where do you hail from?
I used to align tribe. Nice little tribe of goblins, and they followed my lead, basically because none of them could kill me. They're my kin. I mean, the whole reason I took this job is for the loot. They used to love a good pillage, rascal little bastards. I miss them dearly.
What happened?
Well, the blight pushed us out to the waters, and before you know it, this guy in robes, speaking fancy words and stuff like that, basically pushed us through a portal. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I rarely do. And now I'm here. Most of my goblins were they were killed off. You know, they not exactly rule followers, but
Well, we shall be your new goblin horde.
yeah. The first thing I remember was waking up in the proving pits of the Clayfoot tribe, and they had a leader at the time. I don't remember his name exactly. I basically killed him, and one thing led to another, and I was leading a little pack of rascals.
I like that. Pack of rascals.
Out of my kid.
So you were actually alive before the Great Migration.
Yeah, I don't know how long I've been alive, but at least probably 132 moons. That's my first
Moons?
memory.
Moons?
Right, well, I was raised by
That's-
night folk. I mean, I technically don't sleep, but I remember powering down definitely during the day. Spent most of my time in caverns. I've always been the tallest.
Slat thinks he's 132 days old. That's how long he's been outside.
That's how long I've how long I was around for the great, what's it called? It's been an interesting time. I've been basically living here, in the street, you know, if I can find an alley nearby, or I don't eat, so it's made it pretty easy on me.
Yes, it is quite easy to survive without needing to eat. It is really quite a flaw in your guys' behalf.
That's great.
See.
Mushy little.
There's some great joy in some foods that we eat.
Yeah. You see this? You see this right here? I'm gonna hold up like a crust of bread.
It's a
You'll
delicacy.
never know how good this tastes. And I'll just put it in my mouth and just be like, trying to put on a performance. Performance check?
If you want, yeah.
Oh, is that contested by an insight check to see if I believe it?
Believe that the. Yeah, I mean. Oh, man, Charlie, you
Is that really that good?
you should be happy you did not follow up with your original career path of becoming an actor.
Yeah, it really is that good.
Yeah, sure, it looks like you enjoyed it.
So, do you guys even feel pain at all, or anything? Feel?
Oh yes, of course. We just don't need to sustain ourselves on really anything.
Yeah, I can feel pain. Haven't in about 130 days though.
Would you like to?
Give me
Before
a
we
best shot, laddie.
trying to grab my house again.
It's gonna be a rock
So
sack
big.
of robots.
I'm pumped up. Does it end?
Wait, actually?
That's not it.
Oh no, you just slide right off his fucking shoulder plate.
I just start belly laughing.
With what belly?
How about the last of the bucketheads? How about you, Isaac?
My helmet's on the table, but
Well, I mean,
Irrelevant at this point.
Still like the name.
hold on. Should I put the helmet back on?
He's-
Your appearance strength is frightening.
you got it.
Well, I'm Isaac Argios of Clan Argios. We are from the Asaurian people, back on the tribe before the whole shit hit the fan, as they say.
The fan. This is fucking fantasy, John.
What? We are warrior people. We each kind of have our own ways of going about things. I have a older brother Hector who deals things mostly with his great sword. I have a older sister as well who prefers more subtle approaches to things. And me, I have this, and I'll kind of like hand motion to like the armor I'm wearing. But taken a while to modify it to precisely how I like it, and I still like to make little upgrades. So every now and then I'll change how things work. Yeah, any questions?
Will you ever get to meet your siblings?
I mean, maybe. I don't have too great of familiar relationships. My older brother's a bit of a dickhead. Older sister's okay, but we never really were that close. I do have a younger brother, though, that I hope I get to see again soon, but it might be a while.
Well, I'd love to meet your older sister.
Insight check?
Yeah. Any contest, Charlie, or no? Oh, she is... She...
Wait.
Okay.
This. What do I roll for this?
Just do a deception. Yeah, just do deception. Oof, close. You know, John, now that you mention it, you don't think that she likes guys. She might like girls.
I was gonna be like, if we ever cross paths, I'll be sure to introduce you, I guess.
I love that. Well, since it's just me, I don't know. Born and raised in the hive. I don't know. Parents died a long time ago. I've been on my own since. Saved up just enough money to get us in, and I've been eating keep ever since.
Oh, this is a inn?
Formerly was an inn.
How come formally? This new job offer, or did something happen previously? But I don't want to be cutting into revenue.
I mean, you guys sort of are, but with this new
Well,
job.
at least you keep it clean around here.
I'm sure the other patrons in here won't mind.
I mean, there's not really any other patrons, but
That was the joke.
well. I mean, I could keep this open as an inn as long as you guys are willing to share your rooms. And for robots might Warforged. I apologize.
You returned. That's really insensitive for you to
What
say.
is a... Look at you and I go, lad, what's a robot?
See, he doesn't mind.
I don't think I'm allowed to say the hard R word.
Yeah, to you it's
Well,
Robo.
for Warforged, just want to stay in the closets or just downstairs. You still have 2 rooms upstairs that we can still sell out, make more money.
Just need a cool corner of a room.
I'll probably, if it's okay with you, then I'll probably take the larger closet so I can set up a little bit of a shrine.
Yeah, you guys can stay in the closet.
Like Bender from Futurama.
Let's honestly stay in the closet and rent out 2 rooms.
Make some time, buddy.
Exactly.
Passive income, baby. That's how we get to the top.
Diversifying your portfolios.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to. I don't want to spend my life in the hive.
I think we all want to get out of here.
Well, let's I guess this is gonna be our group.
Let's say
None
we
of you
should.
guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we should have a maybe toast to celebrate, but I think only the 2 of us. What do you guys drink? Oil or?
We don't need to.
We'll give them cups, just empty. And then hold up, I'll be right back. I've been saving something for a special occasion.
I mean, I can cheers with my sensor. It looks like it's a little, like, mug type thing.
Sick.
Big old bottle of wine.
Seems like quite the exquisite bottle there.
It is. Did someone just take a swig out of it?
Yeah, what the fuck? I didn't do that.
I just took some beer, but
Oh, hey.
It actually scared me a little bit. I'm like, how? Like, where's that coming from? Dude, I've stepped up my game, dog.
Well, no,
Jesus.
I bought this off of some old sod, and the location doesn't matter. But just know that it came from a wealthy place. I'll pop open the bottle and I'll start pouring. Are you gonna?
Hey, I'll take a cup of that, laddie.
can you drink?
I will hesitantly
I just
pour
googled
in.
it.
I'd love to give it a shot.
I just googled it, and Warforged can get drunk.
What?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Hold the fucking.
So
Hold on.
I'm gonna
Hold on.
have a glass
We
of
need
that.
to be doing some lore research.
I think I would like to join in giving a glass of the good stuff.
Nothing
Warforged
prevents.
don't need to eat or drink, but nothing prevents them from doing so.
They're also They're also
Alright.
capable of getting drunk off alcohol, though their poison resistance makes them able to go drink for drink with any dwarf. That's the first thing that came up.
So give me like 3 bottles of wine, I'll be there.
Well, we only have this one, so...
Alright. It's third for him, a third for me, and you guys can split the other third.
Alright. I'll hesitantly pour this very expensive bottle of wine, but I bobbed off someone. Into everyone's glasses. Alright. I'll grab my cup and say, it's actually a last to you. But are you gonna come up with a name? Are we gonna call ourselves something?
Oh, what was the one that I liked from earlier?
A whispering lizard.
It's almost as bad as the screeching ferret.
I was literally thinking. I was saying at work today. I'm like, we need to come up with a name for our place. And I'm like, what should it be? And I'm like, what is the opposite of a screeching ferret? I'm like, a whispering lizard?
Be 3.5 robots.
3.5 robots. That's like 2.5 men.
Wouldn't it be 2.5 robots though, not 3.5?
Yeah, 2.5 robots. This is amazing.
I thought you can't drop the hard T word.
What's the hard R?
If it's the group name, it's chill, because we agreed on it.
Oh, okay.
2.5 robos.
You guys got...
2.5 robos.
They're gonna give you the T-pass. You can say robot.
You're gonna say to another Warforged, you'd be like, whoa, be like, don't worry.
I got my T-pass.
Don't worry, they have the robo pass, it's okay.
I think maybe we can think on it for a while.
We'll sleep on it, but to brighter futures and bashing heads.
Hell yeah.
Here.
Who baked?
How do I? There we go.
I take the wine and I down the expensive cup of wine in like a fraction of a second.
Not even phased.
I just drink it like a normal cup of wine. Nothing special.
So where does that go in your body? Do you have like a separate holding thing where it like holds in the...
It goes to the coolant tank.
John,
Holds the coolant tank.
you can see it like there's like steam like emanating off them both in the background.
Does the steam smell like wine?
Does it smell like grapes?
Sure. I tried to apply science to this, but...
I tried that once, it didn't go over well.
Time of a day is it, Shane?
Getting near probably dinner time when the glow is starting to dim a bit. So, you guys have the rest of the night, or you can go to bed early, your call. Really.
I'm gonna go set up a little shrine in my closet.
Yeah, I guess we'll hang out in my room for the time being. I'm gonna set up a little workshop in here. At least in my room. Right. Kind of disembark from my armor and I'm just am like tweaking with it. cast like firebolt with my finger to like do different welds.
That's kind of dope.
Alright. Anything else from anyone before y'all take a long rest?
Well, kind of. I mean, I'll probably just like head downstairs to see if anybody's just like chilling. Maybe I'll just like sit at the dining table and start going over just like a book of stuff.
Popular mechanics.
Popular mechanics, yeah. I'm no longer in like my full like scale armor suit. I'm kind of just in like a very like loose fitted like t-shirt and some like joggers.
Are you trying to be Tony Stark? Is that like... I got the Mandalorian vibes from seeing your character at first, but now it's
That's
just full
literally,
on.
like, what the armor subclass
Yeah.
for is artificers is
Fucking Iron Man, yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see my token?
Yes. Did I... Oh my god, did I spell your name wrong?
No. I just all of a sudden just said you do not own a token of vision in this scene.
Oh, way to go.
Whoa, what?
Well. As the glow starts to go down for the night.
Oh, I gotta
Let's see.
check my closet.
So, well, if you guys need anything, we'll be upstairs.
We should be okay. We don't need too much.
I'll go back to my room and like tinker with my armor maybe a little bit, working on like one of like the maybe pauldrons or something like that before retiring to bed.
Do you want the candle back on in your room, Charlie, or no?
I'm good. I have dark vision.
Yeah, just making sure. Well,
Unlike you nerds.
if nobody else has anything for the night and everyone is retiring, nobody dies during the night. That's good. It's a little uncomfortable at first. It's mainly for Isaac, as he's the only person capable of sleeping who also has emotions and isn't a robot.
This is the first time I've slept on a bed and
Yeah, like a bed in general, yeah. And especially like you're in someone else's bed. Lord knows what's about to happen, you know, with your life at this point. But you know, you see your little suit of power armor sitting in the corner, you'll feel a little safer. But as you all sleep through the night, both the robots kind of early that next morning are just kind of like jolted. What was it called? From not powered off, but I don't know how that works. Motionless state, yeah. They're both kind of jerked back to consciousness from their motionless states as they can hear, like, from this area, there's just, like, a loud, like, pounding going on into that wall.
I would like to go check it out.
Alright. You kind of turn the corner the same time Slat does as the sleepers, the non-robots on the top floor kind of get up. Inside the house, kind of nailing away at that wall, you can see there's like a large brown board against the wall now, where there wasn't earlier, and the imp is just kind of like nailing the wall into place.
Fuck, I heard the imp's name, but I forgot it.
Rat thing.
Rat.
Can I make a history check to recall his name?
I'll fix his token so you can just hover over it and then read it for yourself.
That thing. Kept saying his name as we were going up to the fucking.
Rat thing.
Rat.
Oh, that's what he was. Okay. I just got that out.
Can I help you, Rat Fink?
Rat. And he turns to see, look towards you all. He kind of sits at the ground for a little bit, looking at you guys, like with his jaw kind of hanging open slack. After a little bit, he begins to pull like parchments out from basically nowhere, and with his like tiny, kind of cute in a way, little hammer, he just begins to nail different parchments against the wall. Think, and then he just leaves.
I guess we have a newly christened bounty board.
I don't really like the placement of it.
I mean,
Should we start putting out a like a little food bowl with some raw meat in it for him?
I don't know about that much, but I think we should just build a bounty board for him to put stuff on.
Yeah. Shane, I'm assuming because he's like probably what, like 2 feet tall?
Yes. He's barely
Board's
even a 5x5 token.
Alright, so the board is probably at like knee height.
Oh, he had to fly, and you can see like he was definitely using something to prop up like it in the first place. You can see like little drag marks on the ground. Whatever it was, he put back once he got the bottom ones in, or just 2 of them in. Finish out the rest.
Yeah, I think unless we want this wall or other walls to continue being pounded, we need to make the little bounty board.
I say right here.
Damn, what a shame. I'm gonna have to move the torches and everything.
What? You don't even need the torches.
Should probably
We can
put one.
move a torch into my closet. Can't see it. I don't need to breathe, so I don't care if the oxygen gets used up. I'll just open the door and relight the torch.
Don't know if it works like that. Pretty sure you just can get oxygen. Anyways, should we see what we have on the board at least?
Yeah.
Nope.
Our newly moved bounty board. End times have come.
I only saw that. Oh.
60 years ago, there's a faction. That's all I got.
You guys can see it, right?
I have black screen.
Black screen.
All right.
Refresh.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
I just refreshed.
There we go.
Here's where we get boring. I'd hate to ruin the night, guys, but someone's got to get boring for the rest of us. Okay. First thing to note for God damn it, it's gonna keep Slat and Jonah. If you go to the journal entries tab on like the top right section, if you look all the way down at the bottom, there's a button called Quest Log.
Okay.
Let me just double check that this is all set up. You now should see a main quest added in your in progress, as well as are you guys able to see the quests that are added into the in progress now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll move the side ones to, once I figure that out, available. So relatively speaking, this is the main structure going forward. There'll definitely be more. Like the Blood Pits is kind of like a variant of just going out and doing a quest over and over again. Like mentioned earlier, Mercy Killers, they can offer like assassination contracts. Depends on the faction. But for now, like I want, because we ran into issues pacing out, like when we level up and stuff like that in the last campaign.
I think we just lost Santi.
Oh shit, did we? Fuck.
He's offline. I'm not sure if his computer went off or...
Shit, yeah, I see that. I'll just go over this again just go over it with you guys to get a feel for it, and then once he comes back, but my main thing for this is there are the main story quests and then everything else, which I'll just say is side. When you can see in the... Oh.
Santi?
Oh. Oh.
Slat?
Ah.
Goblin King?
Goblin King? Baby?
John, to your soundboard, can you add a Robo Bitch to your mod soundboard?
A robo bitch?
Yeah, you know the yeah, like those ones. Yeah, add those if you could. You have to now. I'm going to go under the assumption that he could probably hear me, and he's just having mic issues. Mission wise, because of how like shit showy campaign 1 started to become near the end with like pacing and all that stuff, I'm trying to leave it self-paced by you guys. The main story, which you can see in progress, that is like the overall goal. You complete a chapter, I'll label it as milestone or whatever, but there are once you complete a main story quest, you'll level up. The side missions give you more kind of like cash, items to use, renown with the different factions and stuff like that. But those won't count towards a level up, only like main story. I'll list it as like a milestone. Once you complete a milestone, which is the end of a chapter, that will level you up. So you guys can choose, like, if you just want to say, fuck it, no side stuff, we're just going through the main campaign, main story. And then points you're like, fuck it, let's just go fucking save a cat from a tree for this session.
Power level and then come back and do all the easy.
Yeah, all the easy, yeah. Go back to the starting area. Yes! Yes! Oh, damn, you found that fast. But so like all the side missions, like the ones that are posted up there, I'm going to try my best to fit them into a single session, just so you guys like know, the main quest / milestone quest, those will probably be several sessions spanning length. So like outside of that, are there any questions for the quests and stuff like that? You can see the available ones you can choose from, and then the in progress and... Okay, I'll take that as a good job, Shane.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions.
Next thing to show off is... Oh, and note 2, notice board, landing page, and the map, and what I'm about to show next are all going to just be left open. You guys should be able to navigate back and forth between them whenever you want, if you need to refer back to something.
Okay.
I'm not even going to play a transition for this one. So, this is a lot to look at. If you hover over each of the icons, that will just tell you what faction is what. But once you finish like the first main quest, blah blah blah, you'll start to encounter more faction interference, because Sigil is controlled by the factions, whether people want to admit it or not. I have an Excel spreadsheet created that calculates all of the like the rep that you'll get. So like if you want to just solely be like on the Aether, and you start leveling them up, you'll start leveling up with their allies too, while also losing rep with their enemies. Each of those bars is just to show how far you've gotten. If you fill it all the way up, you're basically in charge.
I just wanted to let you know that, yeah, Santi can hear you, but for some reason his mic isn't working.
Okay.
You hear me now?
Yay!
Hey.
Hey.
So the audio was good for a little bit, and then it
Just
cut out.
cut, yeah.
I think I missed a tab.
Yeah, I can go back.
No, I think.
I can go back to the quest quick because I kind of went through that really shitty. But the main 15 factions are listed here. You probably won't even encounter half of them, just because half of them aren't, as bad as places like the Harmonium, the Mercy Killers, the Dustmen, etc. But you do quests for some people that will benefit you with some factions over other factions. Like you just between missions, you just straight up kill a member of a faction. Of course, that will disrupt things. But of course, this one I'm setting it now to open always, so you guys can refer to that whenever. But yeah, just if you Slat, God, it feels weird. That journal entries tab on the top right, if you click on that and go all the way to the bottom where it says quest log, you'll be able to check like what quests you're working on, main objectives, stuff like that, and just refer back to that. You guys will level up whenever you complete a like main story quest, which is listed in the in progress. If you guys want to, get more gold, get more magical items, stuff like that, to prepare for the ever-increasing difficulty of the main campaign, you guys can just go off and do whatever you want, or you could just straight up focus on the campaign. To start, though, you can see on the thing that I definitely did not put up, available for everyone, it looks like. Yep. All players navigation. Now you can see the notice board. The 3 white sheet quests, those are like actual missions given to you by the Clovens. Those will each pay 50 gold upon a successful completion. The Blood Pit one is different. That's just like gladiator fighting. The prices for winning are on there. Other than that, that is all I have for session 0. You guys can just, decide on what I need to prepare for next session, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, all the open navigations are there.
Want to bash some heads?
So dumb.
I'm tied between Blood Pits and Lost Pet.
I kind of want to do the lost pet, find the lost animal.
I'm down to find a lost animal.
I'm down for that.
Oh,
Or
well,
find a lost pet.
that was easy.
Old lady.
Alrighty.
Jennifer.
And I can, as part of this, do... oh my gosh, it's in the in progress tab now. Whoa.
Really?
Dude, I fucking love mods. Oh my god. Let me see. I'm just gonna